What's up, everybody? This is Dr. Nick with Leverage Media, and today I want to talk to you about how simplifying your practice can actually lead to growth in the practice. So I was doing an interview today with Dr. Melissa Longo, and we kind of got into the discussion of simplification and whether you have a big practice or a small practice, that streamlining and simplifying your procedures, your communications, your operations can really allow for things to open up, for new opportunities to arise, and for a lot of growth to happen in the practice. So my trajectory, if you've been listening to me for long enough, you've probably heard these stories, but my trajectory was my first job out of school. I was offered to buy a satellite clinic that was in a room, probably like a 20 by 20 room inside of a medical center, no employees, $1,500 overhead. And the day I bought it, I was profiting about $10,000 to $15,000 a month, and was amazing. And I could have sat and done that probably forever if that's what I wanted to do. And some of you out there, that sounds like a dream. Just nobody to manage. I worked in that practice. I worked 2.5 days a week, and then I started to open up another practice, and then all the craziness started. But what happened was I moved that office to another like a house that was in town, and it was probably about 1,100 square feet. So as soon as I got more space, I had to buy more equipment. I had to buy more furniture. I had to finish the place, had to make it look nice. Got a staff member, ended up getting a second staff member, and it just became more complicated over time. Then I opened up a second office in Springfield, the one that I have now. That was I think that was like 2,400 square feet. So that all needed equipment, and I had I basically took out a loan and filled that with stuff. And over time, every time so I kind of like expanded quickly in my second year between a second office and more space in the original office. And there have been a couple of spots throughout my career where I have downsized, where I've simplified, I sold off that first practice. And every time that I simplified, things became easier, things became more profitable. One of the key steps was when we went from the 2,400 square foot space into maybe about a 1,500 square foot space. And that was the point where I stepped out of seeing patients, and I brought in my second associate. And that was a real growth opportunity for us. And we grew from $250,000 a year to $750,000 a year in the span of, I think it was like 3 years. And it was, I stopped seeing patients, and that's when the growth happened, because we simplified things. The doctors only had to focus on the doctor things. I only had to focus on the business things. And it just simplified everybody's role within the practice. Well, at that third year, we moved into a 5,000 square foot space, and that all of a sudden we had to fill it with more stuff. We had to add more services, more employees, and it became more complicated, and the stress started to rise again. Well, COVID came last year, and it kind of forced us to simplify what we were offering. And so we ended up getting rid of a program that I love, but that was really creating. I think it was more confusion in the patient's mind, because we were presenting them with care plans with kind of like two different angles. And we probably could do a better job of presenting the care plans, but getting rid of kind of like the wellness option and staying more focused on what they came in with, their condition, functional exercise, and getting them back to working again and feeling better. It just simplified it, I think, in the doctor's mind as well as the patient's mind. And we got more yeses, more care plans being started, more people completing their care. And as much as I loved being able to offer those more full wellness programs, and those people, did great, but I think we lost, a certain chunk of our new patients to confusion. And so when we were talking today about simplifying, Melissa has a pretty small practice in terms of size, and she's really built it around her life, which is great. But it doesn't matter whether you have, a 10,000 square foot, $2 million office, or you have a 500 square foot space where you're the only person in there. Anything that you're doing could be simplified, streamlined, focusing on the things that are going to bring the most value to the patients, that are going to bring the most value and profit to the business. And the more that you can do with less, the less stress you're going to feel, the more profitable you're going to be. So a lot of us were forced into that last year with COVID. Some of the things, some of the equipment that we use in the practice, we weren't able to use. And I don't know if we're going to bring some of that back now that things are going back to normal, just because it's been pretty nice for the staff. There's been less stress. There's been, less things that they have to do, and they can just focus on delivering great care. So think about your procedures, think about the things that, and this is why, weekly and quarterly meetings are so useful and helpful for a team, because you can identify those stress points. And when you come up with those issues, a lot of times elimination is the solution to the problem. So think about where you guys can simplify. Hopefully that helps, and we'll see you on the next one.